So good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Forgot to hit the record button there. Um, I was just saying that the certification program is something we've been working on for I don't know how long, quite a few years. And as a product manager, one of the things I love about my role with Abe is I still get to be a product manager. Um, I'm always reluctant to give like dates of when new products are going to be available, but I would say I feel pretty good about this one. In fact, I'm going to give you a sneak peek into some of the behind the scenes stuff we have, into some of the actual designs, like the actual designs that our designers create and that we forward on to the our software developers. But first, let's talk about it. So, a certification program. What's the benefit of a certification program? Well, look, I came to AIM initially as a client, as a prospect, talking with Dan Adams. And when I was looking at the entire new product blueprinting system, I made an observation to Dan. I said, it seems apparent to me that you've looked at what's working and what's not working, and you've created something to fill in that gap. And all of you, all of you blueprinting practitioners know it's just so very comprehensive. The software, the e-learning, Blue Help, Blue Tools, it's so comprehensive that it can be confusing at times. Like, how do we even find anything? But this is going to be another major component that's really going to help us all to succeed. Let's talk about that a little bit. How will the certification program help all of you that are on the line today? Well, there's going to be some specific and different benefits based if you're a practitioner or a leader. But ultimately, it's going to be helpful for all of us. It's going to help us to move together towards a common destination. So, I mean, here, think about a blueprinting project. Okay, here's the thing about a blueprinting project. It's an investment. It is an investment. And what is the commonality to all investments, right? Investments pay off not today. It's an investment today that pays off in the future. And maybe it's because of my time with John Deere, but I just can't help but imagine sort of an agricultural crops based metaphor. I mean, think how silly it would be if a farmer planted seeds and then went and dug up the seeds the next day, the next week, and then concluded that, well, agriculture doesn't work. Seeds don't work, right? It's silly. But we see similar mentalities to that all the time, right? Where companies don't have the patience or don't see the new product blueprinting or even their customer insight activities enough as an investment, meaning that it's something that's going to pay off. It's going to pay off in the future. Now, that's a project. A new product blueprinting project is an investment. But also, for you leaders on the phone, you know, it's an investment in your people. And for the practitioners, investment in learning new product blueprinting it's an investment in yourself, right? It's something that's going to pay off in the future, not immediately, both for the individual and also for the company and for the leadership. And that's where these new certification programs come into play. Look, what get measured gets done. Um, I find myself, we won't discuss why, but I find myself using the example of losing weight. And look, the only thing that's ever worked for me is to count calories. Like you could talk about carbs or whatever, but when I actually log my calories, when I actually measure what I've eaten, that's the only time I really see progress towards the goal. And it's the same way with blueprinting projects, which is why we've had the project tracker. We've got something better coming up for that in the future too. But also for the learning and the education of the new product development knowledge. So let's start with, again, it's going to be a little different for the practitioner and for the leader. Let's begin with the practitioner. So for the practitioner, these certification programs will help to measure their growing knowledge. But look, that's just the beginning. Not only will it measure where they are, as I will show you here shortly, it will also reveal where knowledge is lacking And beyond that, it will point them to resources to where to address those knowledge gaps. So in the end, the certified practitioner will have acquired both knowledge and experience so that they can be a reliable innovator in the future. They will be able to, I keep thinking this word reliably. They'll be able to reliably conduct a blueprinter project. They'll have the skills to uncover market opportunities. And look, it's going to be a valued credential that they can add to their resume. So within their company, with their colleagues, with the positions they aspire to achieve, this will signal their interest in growth. This will signal their interest in innovation. They're helping to positioning themselves, their own marketing around themselves, so that they will boost their career within their own company. But look, unfortunately, companies restructure all the time, and we're very much in touch with that, because often when folks are displaced, they reach out to us, as they're looking to leverage their blueprinting experience with another company. And so this the certified blueprinter will be a great credential, because we also have companies reaching out to us looking for, hey, how do we find folks that have experience, because they're wanting to grow quickly. And it's not something, there's probably a role out there, a need out there for a matchmaker, if you will. That's not something we've chose to really engage in very much. It's a bit out of our space, but this practitioner certification is a step in that direction, and getting this credential will be great. It'll be great for the practitioners that have been displaced to find another role, and it'll be great for companies looking for folks that have this type of ability. Okay, that's the practitioner. What about company leaders? Company leaders, they also need to measure. They need to measure this growing asset within their company, this growing asset that can uncover customer insights. So this certification, it's a tool to help them measure how well their business will be able to grow in the future, because it measures the abilities of their individual practitioners, of their army of folks, to be able to better uncover business opportunities for them to pursue. Now, all the way up to the top of a company's leadership, this is useful because it's a measurement of the company's, this asset they're building so that they can grow. I mean, if you think about a factory, we know if you talk to the manufacturing engineers or the industrial engineers within a factory, they can tell you how many widgets this factory is designed to produce. But can we look at a business and say, what's this business's capacity to uncover market opportunities? What's this business's capacity, how to uncover market needs, right? That's where this certification program comes in, right? So that's my little preamble. With that, I'll give us a little tour of some of these future designs. But while I'm pushing the buttons to do that, any questions from anyone? Again, feel free to unmute. All right. Let's see. Can you see my screen? I'll take silence for yes. All right. So what we're looking at, this is the actual design of what's going to be the new homepage within the Blueprinting Center, and we call this the Practitioner Dashboard for reasons I'll get into. But first of all, what's required to obtain or to become a certified practitioner? Well, you must have a certain amount of experience, right? So you must have participated in 3 discovery interviews and 2 preference interviews. You must have taken a project all the way, at least one, all the way to a market case. You must have completed a market case. That means you've been on a team that has completed step 1, so you're scoping out a market. You've done the team has completed discovery interviews, and the team has done preference interviews. You've analyzed your data, and you've pulled it all together and presented to management, completed a market case. You must have completed e-learning modules through 24. And here's where we have the fun stuff. You have to have passed 4 blueprinting certification exams. It wouldn't be much of a certification if we didn't measure what you've learned. So let me move forward here a little bit. Once, as a certified practitioner, you'll want to move on to Blue Belt. But first, let me show you some of the additional functionality that we're bringing to the Blueprinting Center along with the same release. You're going to get a mini executive dashboard on the Blueprinting Center. As you can see, it'll show you your progress towards your current projects. There'll be a quick access to any recent projects you've opened in Blueprinter, hopefully speeding that up. Now, again, you have to have a certain amount of experience to obtain the certification. So we will track. You will see your how. Now, based on what you have to put the information in Blueprinter, like you have to put in there whether you're a moderator, note taker, and observer, but it will begin to track your experience, track your interview experience. It'll also help you out with what are the upcoming dates. It will show you your progress towards your e-learning goal, and it will show you your progress towards your certification. In this case, well, towards both certifications. And there's a couple other additional features we're also adding as part of this upgrade. There might be times you want to search for other blueprinting colleagues within your business, so you'll have the ability to do that here. And we'll also give you a little what's new section with the most recent the upcoming masterclass session, so just today, the next major news item, and then the next article. Now I'll show you the exams here shortly, but before doing that, any questions from anyone? Again, this is pretty straightforward, I think, but again, just feel free to unmute and stop me anytime. So I'm going to show you the exams here shortly, but first, okay, now that you've got this certified blueprinting practitioner badge, and by the way, we're going to have this so that it's something you can download and put on your LinkedIn page. Once you have that, now what about moving forward to the Blue Belt certification? Now, as a Blue Belt, then you will be qualified to coach other teams within your business. And again, that's something that leaders are going to be highly interested in, not only tracking the number of certified practitioners, but also you're going to want some subject matter experts. You're going to want to identify some folks within your business that are going to really be those that have a deeper knowledge, additional experience, so that they can coach other teams. Now, of course, we have at AIM, it's something we provide that we have coaches for you, but this is one of those things that we're sort of trying to work ourselves out of a job for the coaching, quite frankly. I mean, our role really should be helping you as a business to be less dependent on us. And certainly the coaching is a labor intensive part of that. And so what do you need well, of course, to be a Blue Belt, you have to first be a certified practitioner. And after that, you need additional experience. Now, with the certified practitioner, we were have a little more flexibility as to what role you had played on the team. But moving forward to Blue Belt, now you've got to be a moderator or note taker in 5 discovery and 3 preference interviews. You have to complete all the e-learning modules, and you have to complete all the exams. And at that point, your screen would look more like this, and you see the next steps go away. Maybe someday we'll have a black belt certification, but we're not having certifications just for the purpose of having certifications, right? They're meaningful. Let somebody in the room here. Certified practitioners, that's the folks that are ready to be on teams and and function at a high level. Blue belts, these are your internal subject matter experts. And moving forward, you really want to have and you definitely want to have a blue belt or each team needs access to a blue belt, whether it's an AIM person or whether somebody from your business. All right. So that's how the new screen is going to look. Oh, and then here again, you'll be able to. So this is a blue belts view. So again, you've got quick access to your research projects. You've got visibility to what's coming up next, or to your as far as your progress in your current projects. You'll track your progress, your experience level, and in this case, you'll track your progress towards all the exams you've completed. And in this case, you're a blue belt. You've completed all 7 exams. All right. So let me show you what the exams look like. Now we'll pause sharing. I have a question. Can you show some examples of what kind of questions you ask in the exams? Well, yes. We'll do that right now. All right, let me resume the sharing. And it might be easier, by the way, to just, because I'm running this today without Dan, it might be easier to unmute and ask a question because the chat's not super accessible to me. All right, so this is the main center for the exams. And in this case, you can see a person has, these are the exams for the certified practitioner, as you can see here. But there's a similar summary page for the blue belt as well. And so here you see the rules, in case you're curious. 25 questions on an exam. You need it. It's interesting. We had a lot of interesting internal discussions about what score you need to pass. 80% is where we arrived. So good solid B. All of the questions, all exam questions are covered within Blue Help. All the information is there. And of course, e-learning also. But if for the ones you miss, we're doing a few things to make it a little bit easier to find, to research whatever topic you need some help with. I'll show you that later. You have an hour to take each of the 4 exams. It's plenty of time, and it's more or less an open book test. We sort of, by limiting the time, you do have to know the material, but it's not the worst thing to be familiar with the resource to look up the information. And you can take the 4 exams in any order, although I don't know why you wouldn't take them 1, 2, 3. All right, so let's look let's pick this one, exam 2. By the way, this is a live design, so some of this doesn't work exactly as it will, or this might work a little slower than in real life. So this is what your exam would look like after you have finished it. Now let's look at what some of the actual questions would be. So if I select number 7 so at random, here's a question. When we say the discovery interview note taker capture notes verbatim, we mean they should what? Paraphrase the key points the customers make. Record the outcome statements word for word. Record the customer's outcome using as many words as possible, or provide an accurate summary of outcomes. And you can see it's number 3. Record the customer's outcome using as many actual words as possible. In this case, we're really honing down this word verbatim. If you want to read more, I'm not going to click on it, but I can go right there, and this will take me to, maybe I will do it. See if that, yep, it just opens another screen. So so what I did, by the way, so this is the question. I select this link right there, and it took me here where I can read further in depth about about what the topic was. And of course, you don't see this until after the exam's over. It'll make it that easy on you. Now, what if you get a question wrong? In this case, this test taker did a pretty good job. He just missed 1 question. If we go to 16, you can see you'll get feedback. Which trigger map might you use if you think customers will be fixated only on cost reductions? And you can see we have the 4 maps listed and the proper answer. In the proper answer was benefits map. It was incorrectly marked as trends map. And again, if we want to read more about it, we select trigger map right there, and it takes us right to the page within Blue Help for this particular question. So again, of course, you don't get this until afterwards. So I mean, the exam is to verify a person's knowledge, but it's also a learning tool. It's also, we're not measuring things just for the sake of measuring them. We're giving you information to later go back and research the topic. And hopefully you can also see how the Blue Help tool integrates with the exam itself. All right, and then of course, once you complete your test, you'll get something that looks like this, letting you know, congratulations, completion time, if that's interesting to you. And if you're ready to take the next exam now, you can click here. I actually don't know if this will work or not because this is a demo. Yep, look at that. Takes me to the next exam. All right. And really, that is pretty much all I have for our practitioner program, our practitioner certification, Blue Belt certification, I should say. We've been working on this for, I don't even know, a couple years, 2-3 years. And it's really, I mean, not full time, but we're just so excited to be rolling this out. And when we roll it out, we're looking at May. And again, as the product manager in me always likes to be much more vague about when things are available. But you're seeing the designs. We got some back end work to do, but feel very confident about this May release for these programs. All right, with that, I'm going to just turn it over to everybody, to anyone. Does anyone have any questions? That's some feedback there. Well, I'll share one more bit of information. So what if you fail at? Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah, because again, it's just it's company, what I mean, with how Zoom works and stuff like that. So anyhow, so yeah, when you heard me earlier doing that, that crazy feedback, that was me. All right, this is Nate.
No worries. Maybe I thought you had some cool guitar effect or something.
Yeah, I wish, man. I mean, my wife plays guitar. I don't. I can sing like a bird. I mean, it's a beautiful voice. But anyhow, when you're talking about the certifications and stuff like that, having done, again, I wish I was on video right now, but there's just some issue. Having done well over 50, how is 3 discovery and 5 preference, or what you mentioned before, right? Like those, is that I mean, let's be honest, you got to get better as you go, you know what I mean? Like that seems like, to me, and just all honesty, Dan could be here too, but it seems just a little low. You know what I mean?
I do. Yeah. Well, again, now that's one reason we're talking with you guys about it right now. Just so let me ask you, I mean, we had a lot of conversation about that as well. Rather than, relay all of our conversation about it, just let me ask you, what would be your recommendation for those levels?
In my opinion, I would say at 10, because you can't, you know what I mean, 10 discovery interviews, you can get with per project, right?
Yeah.
Say 5 or more.
Yeah.
Right? We're doing another one. You know what I mean?
Yep.
I would say that in the designation of role, whether it's moderator or note taker, and sure other people on the call play both roles.
Yeah.
It's just how well you are at typing, and you know what I mean, and keeping up with things.
Yeah.
But I would suggest that the bar be set a little bit higher.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't disagree with you. I'll tell you this, we probably had the most conversation around that point. And I think that's good feedback. You said 10 discovery interviews. What about for preference? Or you mean
they're harder to get. They're preference interviews are harder to get because in my experience, that a lot of the folks that do the discovery interviews, it's essentially they're like, yeah, we had a great brainstorming meeting, and so when you go back to them and give the high level, these are the topics, right? These are the what we want you to rank. They're not as willing to participate.
Yeah.
That's just from my experience. I've been doing it. You know me, and those of you who don't on this call, it's just it's one of those things in the industry.
You're one of the most experienced folks out there for sure. That's for
I
sure.
appreciate that, but you're definitely more experienced than I am. You know, um, and it's just it's kind of one of those things. I've done 3 in the past month.
Yeah.
Just as both moderator and note taker. So
Yeah.
I'm just
Yeah.
concerned. I don't want to downgrade the brand.
That's a good feedback. Well, let me ask you, since you brought it up, then what would you have for the additional experience for the blue belt? Because it obviously would need to be a higher threshold. Oh, by the way, I was asking you another question. So you said 10 discovery. Did you mean 10 like all together, 10 discovery and preference? Is that what you meant? Or you
No,
said,
I'm
okay, 10 discoveries. Would you have?
separate projects or not.
Yeah.
You need to because you got. We do this. My next one coming up is midnight on Wednesday.
Yeah.
Okay, with a company in India.
Yeah.
And so understanding the just the differences in culture and expectations and markets.
Yeah.
It really helps to broaden your scope of where you're trying to go and exactly what you're trying to do. You have a topic you want to talk about, it might lead you somewhere else.
Yeah.
And it's open-ended discussion. So you let it roll, right? That's what new product blueprint is, right?
I think that's great feedback, Nate, and for sure, you keep learning. I mean, it's one of the things that I really don't take for granted. Well, I've got 2 preference interviews today. As a matter of fact, one first thing in the morning. In fact, I have one immediately after this call. But one thing I don't take for granted is, I get to do them in lots of different markets, radically different markets. And you learn some interesting things there, moving from this business to these, a service business, a software business, makes pumps, but, it's radically different thing. Of course, there's also these commonalities. So I think it's a good point, and Dan and I we will we will chat about this. We might even pull you into a call if that's something you'd be up for.
I love that. I'd actually love more information about really because again the preference interviews and the conclusions therefrom are one of the hardest challenges.
Yeah.
I think preference interview training and expectations, is something that's quite important.
Yeah, agree. Great feedback. Great feedback. Any other thoughts, Nate?
I got plenty, but not for today.
Appreciate it, man. Awesome. Yeah.
Hi, Scott. It's Mark Fami from Sangaban here.
Yes.
So thanks for giving the introduction to the new certification. I would agree with Nate as well about the number of discovery interviews.
Yeah.
But I guess it all depends on what your intentions for the program are. So I know you've already talked about 2 certifications, so practitioner, blue belt, and possibly quotation marks, black belt. And I think naturally from the conversation that Nate just introduced, depending on how, let's say, much experience that some practitioners have, I can easily imagine some people, at least within the audience or within, let's say, the blueprinting community, would be going into that black belt sort of side. Okay, so with preference interviews about how to do side-by-side testing, how to use that side-by-side testing to go into product objectives. And I know that ever since Blueprinter 5.0, you've been more focusing on that front end with up to the market case rather than afterwards as well. But I can imagine that there are a lot of people, well, maybe not a lot, but over the past decade or so, if I remember correctly, there's a lot of people who have some experience there, and I can imagine the black belt or even above, right? I forgot what the above black belt is, but you'd be able to get people like that too. But I think 10 for practitioner will definitely give you a good base. Again, going to what you asked about blue belt, I would say 20, and then black belt 30 and above, maybe with different geographies, different cultures, different markets as well. because I think that's actually quite, you're 100% right. I've had that experience as well for my roles within my company. And I learned so much even just through that time period about the different ways you can do discovery interviews and preference interviews as well.
Great points. I wrote your numbers down. It's a nice 10, 20, 30 has a nice sound to it. Now, by the way, the black belt doesn't technically exist, but maybe it should.
Yeah.
So with the certifications, what the expectations of that you would be able to do is a certified practitioner is to be a highly functioning team member. Of a blue belt, you'd be really an advisor, right? You'd be able to, advisor to other teams at a higher level. And then black belt, I don't know. Maybe that's also something for us to talk about.
Yeah, and I guess I talked about this with Dan as well. I guess the other thing to think about are maybe affiliate programs, right? I guess what's happened over the past year, a lot of people have maybe looked at their situations, either created outside of their control, within their control, and I'd imagine there are some people who have got blueprinting experience that are thinking of or using that experience with other companies other than internal. So I can imagine that there is scope for this sort of stuff where, as you just said, right, you want to be focusing on the development of blueprinting and want to talk about the value add, right? You can help businesses improve. And there are high, how did you put it? A lot of effort activities, which maybe you can outsource to different people, and then they might be able to help external companies. But that could be another way, depending on whether you want to go in that direction, where this certification can help.
Yeah, great points. Here's where I hope it'll help. It's like again, we have these B2B companies seem to do a lot of restructuring, and usually there's somebody left without a job. And so you've got this population of folks that have experienced blueprinters, and companies looking for those people. And again, maybe somebody wants to start a company, maybe some kind of matchmaker service. I don't think that's appropriate for us, really, for reasons I won't go into. But this would be something that could help with that. Like if you're a displaced person, you have this credential. And if you're a company looking for people, you can look for that credential. So it's something that should help. And what a great place for somebody without a job to land in a company that's committed to blueprinting moving forward. And for the company, who's going to spend lots of time and effort getting their people trained up. What a great thing to bring in an experienced person, right off the bat. I mean, imagine bringing in the blue belts. I mean, I could see that being I think it's a win-win-win for everybody. And if you're on the phone, you guys know Dan. And Dan, he wants you to be successful. I mean, he gets up in the morning and thinks about how can I help my clients to be successful. All of you know him. That's how he is. And I think this isn't everything, but this is a solid step towards something that I really think helps all of you out there.
Yeah, and I would agree with that approach. As I said, with my role when I was implementing blueprinting, I was doing that as essentially an internal blueprinting coach.
Yeah.
And that has been cited as one of the main reasons why it kicked off in a lot of different ways within my company, because there was that internal support. So I can imagine that having like a blue belt, someone outside that may be affiliated with AIM, not necessarily part of AIM, but we're able to help that through freelancing or a separate company, I think is actually quite a good idea.
Yeah.
And again, I'm happy to talk about that separately.
I agree with that, Mark. It really is. It's been beneficial, and the more you know, the more you help others around you grow.
There's also ancillary benefits where you start networking internally, the people who should know about each other with similar blueprinting projects or different things, and being that nexus, that link I think is really useful as well. And it did accelerate a lot of the learnings that we had in the early days of blueprinting.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%. And well, yeah, and another thing, by the way, that we'd like to do is to help you guys. So like Nate and Mark, I don't know if you guys know each other, but to help those blueprinting, help connect folks. So you both have this common interest in, this methodology, to the degree that we can help connect you with each other, just to share ideas, share best practices. I'm sure we would all learn. I'll learn from that. But anyway, that's probably a topic for another day.
Again, another thing that's come to mind, and my last point before I open up to other questions is there. I think we definitely have a very engaged blueprinting community, and you, as a company, AIM, if you wanted to, there's a way in which, as a community, we'd love to contribute. I would imagine, officially, unofficially, or just for the hell of it, as they say. Yeah, I'd love to share experiences and put things there. But at the moment, I guess we don't have an easy way of networking. Even though I have contacted some companies on my own volition, explaining some things and learning from them. I think if AIM wanted to, or you could have that, you could build a community, and I'd definitely be a part of that.
Yeah, I think that would be a lot of fun, and fun matters to me. But seriously, I mean, we spend a lot of our time at work, and it's nice. It's nice to have a topic you're passionate about, and what's more fun than finding other people work otherwise have the similar passion for that topic, and it's fun. There's nothing wrong with that, and also we all learn more as well. So yeah, I think that's definitely a bigger conversation we probably want to continue to have. Yeah. All right. Anybody else have any other questions? Let me throw one more thing I meant to mention. I forgot. So again, if you fail the exam and you go back to take it, the same exam, you'll find the questions are different. Dan was he spent a lot of effort developing a lot of questions. So the questions will be, and they're randomized. I mean, the people that make the SAT or GMAT couldn't have done a better job. So behind the scenes, if when you fail the test, when you take it back, it's not like, you won't take the exact same questions again. So we thought through a few things there. All right.
One quick comment on the number of blueprinting sessions you've led, whether it's discovery or preference. I think I agree. A bigger number seems appropriate, like mentioned. But I will say I've done 15 or so discovery and maybe only 6 or 7 preference. And I'm to a point now where I'm trying to encourage the technical team to do most of the moderating, and then the salespeople to do the note taking.
Yeah.
Just to give more experience and make sure everyone's comfortable, so that I'm not having to be on the call every time. So I would say less emphasis on the roles within the calls, but I don't disagree. And I think you had mentioned that number you had mentioned was around moderating those sessions. And I'd say if you're a note taker or moderator, or even a observer, you're getting something from it every time, and you're learning every time. So I think that's less important than the total number.
As it is now, and again, we haven't released this, so we've got a couple of months to talk about it. Feel free to drop me or Dan an email, or both of us an email, and I mean, I've captured your comments here as well. But we haven't, this is, we're giving you a glimpse into our development. Not something I don't know that we've ever done that before. But this Monday session actually is a nice forum for that. But yeah, that's a good comment. The bar is not overly high for experience. I'm right there with you guys. So Dan and I will chat about this in the near future. I may pull some of you into that conversation. We'll see. Although I've got your comment. Cool. Anybody else? Excellent. Well, again, it's we're looking forward to releasing this. I think it's going to be a big deal. I'm really excited about it. It's like a lot of things. I think the impact of it it's an investment, right? It'll be after, it won't be after it's released. maybe a year from now, say, but May, around the 1st of May, that's when I'm very confident we'll be able to turn this loose. And we may even have it featured on another one of these sessions, perhaps in May, just to show you where we landed. We'll see if we've adjusted the experience level. All right. Well, thanks everybody. I love connecting with you guys on a Monday morning. And one last thing. Let's see what we have next time. Next time is another big thing that Mr. Adams has been very diligently working on. How to connect blueprinter really, with your stage and gate process. Anyway, so we're gonna, everybody has a stage gate or phased gate process. You got gate reviews, and we have some exciting things in the works of how to make that even easier to do in the future. But I won't go into that now. You have to come back on Monday, March 8th to learn a bit more about that.
We'll be here, Scott. Don't worry.
All right, awesome. Thanks, Nate, and thanks everybody. All right, we'll see you guys in a couple weeks, 2-3 weeks. And hey, man, reach out anytime.
All right. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Take care.
Bye-bye.